Okay, so I'm gonna just give you a brief tutorial about how to look for primary sources. Some of you have already done this before and it might be a refresher, but for some of you who haven't done this in a while, this might be a good way to start thinking about this. So, um, first of all, you got to think about a topic, and hopefully, you've looked at the list of potential topics, and I've talked to a lot of you about some of the ideas that you have. So let's say you wanted to start looking for newspaper articles as a primary source. That's what you're interested in. So if you go to the library website and click on Research Help, find articles. So I'm looking for newspaper articles. And you have a few different things here. If you're interested in Michigan topics, there's Michigan newspapers, but I'm going to click on More Newspaper Indexes. Then I'm going to go down here to ProQuest Historical Newspapers. So here's was an example that I have. I have all water. So I just typed in water diversion Chicago, and the reason I put quotation marks around things is to be able to know that it's going to include that exact phrase. So I have 268 results. That's kind of a lot. I might want to narrow it down and figure out, okay, why is there this peak in mentions here between 1920 and 1929? So I can narrow it down to that exact period. Update. So it looks like there was a Supreme Court case. I might want to look to see if there are Supreme Court records. That might be another potential primary source. But you can see I can kind of click on these and find out more about the Supreme Court case. It's really interesting to me. Why was there a Supreme Court case? So June 5th, 1928. And the way that I would save this is I can either click here and download it, I can print it, or I can download the PDF and save it to my computer for later in order for me to analyze it. So that's one way to find primary source newspapers. Another way to find kind of primary sources that are more archive related. Let's say I was interested in water chlorination, so I would put this in quotation marks. So looking for that exact phrase. Now, Wikipedia is a really great place to start a project. You can kind of find out more. So I'm looking for water chlorination related to drinking water chlorination. So this gives me a good overview, but it wouldn't be a source that I would cite in my paper. I would instead go to these sources down here and get a stronger sense of where is this person getting their information from, and I'm interested into why. So look, this right here, this is from 1897. Wow, that's a great primary source for me, potentially. I don't know. But I can look up this typhoid issue, open access articles. So you start following these different ways. So it looks like this person got this information from here. Anyway, I would start looking. I might not be able to find it. Again, this is why this is a little bit problematic. But I would start looking for these articles as potential primary sources. Okay, so let's say I kind of I know by Wikipedia kind of what I want to talk about or that kind of thing, and I just want to try to find some more historical archives. The way you could do that is type in Typhoid Chicago Historical Archives. Here we've got a Wikipedia article. Like I said, that's a good place to start. But right here I've got, a primary source from the Chicago Tribune. I've got to find out the year that this was published, but I can zoom in, I can share this article, save it, and find out more information about it. That's another way to do it. Okay, so let's say I want to find a local library and see what they might have. There's the Bentley Historical Library at the University of Michigan, which they have collection highlights using the archives. You can search the collection, see what they have. I can look at the MSU Historical Archives. That's just right across the street from us. See what they have there. Now, let's say I wanted to look at something that wasn't very local and was a little farther away. Let's say I wanted to examine something on the Leelanau Peninsula. A lot of these places have historical societies that have archives that you can search through. So You can look at their online catalog, keyword search, advanced search, random images. You can find out more information. A lot of times you can also email people to get to see if they might know anything or might be able to direct you if you've already searched the archive and haven't found anything. Finally, one other place to find both primary and secondary sources is a database called JSTOR. So if you go back to the general MSU library website, click databases, browse database, and it's JSTOR. And then you click here. Let's see, I want to do an advanced search, and I'm looking for water diversion, Chicago. I want books, maybe a book chapter and articles. And because this is an HPS class, I'm looking for more history, philosophy, or sociology. Now, if I wanted to open this up to more primary sources that maybe like scientific reports or things from science, I wouldn't use these things. I wouldn't narrow it down this way, but I'm going to do that this time. So let's see, this is from 1941. This is the Lake Michigan Water Diversion Controversy, a summary statement. So depending on the content of this might be a primary or secondary source. Depending on if they're talking about the current time in 1941, then that would be a primary source. If they were looking back at something that happened in the 1800s, that would be a secondary source. If you have any other questions or want to discuss this any further, feel free to come to my office hours or make an appointment. Hope this was helpful.